Warren Buffett once told the story of how he got picked up at the airport by a young Harvard Business School attendee. And they both sat in the car and had a little chat. And the young business school attendee, he told Warren of how he worked for company X, Y, and Z already, and how he's going to start working for this big, prestigious management consulting firm to round up his resume. And so Warren Buffett asked him, well, is this really what you want to do? And the young guy said, well, no, but it's a perfect resume. And Warren Buffett asked him again, when are you going to start doing what you like? And the young guy said, well, someday I'll get there. And I think the answer Warren Buffett gave here is really genius. And at the same time, you kind of have to buckle up for this one. He said, well, your plan sounds to me a lot like you're saving up sex for your old age. Just doesn't make a lot of sense. And I think as humorous as this message may sound, it comes with a significant level of deeper meaning. Our generation, the millennials, we're often referred to as the job-hopping generation. Switching our jobs is frequent as every 2 to 3 years, while at the same time we tend to feel less and less attached to the firms we're currently working for. Why is that? And does it ultimately help us for our personal development? Does it help us to reach a more fulfilled life? Well, to illustrate this point, I made this simple graph here. And on the x-axis, I labeled mindset with respect to short and long-term mindset. And on the y-axis, I labeled fulfillment. I think fulfillment is a desirable goal in life, right? It essentially means that you have a sense of happiness, a sense of satisfaction from witnessing your own personal growth. And I think at the same time, fulfillment is somewhat achievable, actionable, plannable, with the right mindset in place. So the question here is, what is the correlation between mindset and low and high level of personal fulfillment with respect to the career choices we're making? I would argue, on average, the correlation could look like this. The more long-term our mindset regarding the career choices we're making, the higher levels of personal fulfillment we will be able to reach. I would say that most of the job-hopping people, they tend to be on the lower left of the graph simply because they don't enjoy what they do, and hence they don't feel fulfilled. It's actually that easy. But why do so many people tend to be in the short term nowadays? I think in this fast-paced lifestyle we're having nowadays, and this fast pace surrounds us 24/7, I think it's easy to fall in the trap of a short-term behavior. Do you know this feeling when you lay on the couch and you're watching a movie, and the movie is really exciting and all that, but there are also some parts in the movie that maybe tend to be a little bit less exciting. And sometimes it happens to me that I get sidetracked. And, you know, unconsciously, I start to pull out my phone, just randomly. Did you ever experience that yourself? Just randomly, right? Just random messages or social media or something. And it bugs me because I think, Johnny, what the heck? You're watching a movie. Pay attention to the movie, right? Don't pull out your phone. And I sometimes see my friends how they do that as well. We're watching a movie together, and then I look sideways and they're on the phone. I think, isn't this crazy? How is this trend going to dominate us in the future? Memes, snaps, TikToks, 15-second videos, just a simple swipe up, and you will enjoy a very short-term pleasure. Don't get me wrong though, I love memes, I think they're hilarious. Once you get in the flow though, it's kind of hard to stop, right? Just one more time, there might be something really funny coming up 10 swipes further down. It's almost like sitting in the casino pulling the trigger on the slot machine. Just one more time, the big win might be just ahead. It's basically the same psychology. It's addictive and it's short term. Don't get me wrong though, I don't want you to stop consuming memes or similar. But I think it's important to talk about this. And I think it's more important to be conscious, to be self-conscious of the potential effect of how memes change our career behavior. I believe if we get constantly fed with these short moments of pleasure, if we have these short moments of success experience, if we can escape our daily problems so easily, so quickly, with a simple swipe or just a click, I think it lowers our overall ability to be resilient, to stick with something long term, especially when these short moments of success are absent. If you find yourself on the lower left of the graph, well, you don't have to worry. Your job might be fine. Your love life might be fine. Everything might be fine, but it's never going to be great. If we take a look at great accomplishments in our world, if we take a look at the most successful people, the people that really advance our society the most, the Elon Musks in this world, these people never started to do something with a short-term mindset. If you want to build up something truly significant, something truly great, you need to stick with an idea for a very long time, especially when hurdles arise, and especially when there's no nearby experience of success. You need to have a long breath, a long-term mindset. And this brings me to the next point. We also need a reason of why should we stick with something long-term, right? Why not just hop from job to job? It's so easy nowadays. And not just a why, but also a how can we stick with something long-term, especially when there's no nearby success experience. I'm going to introduce you the purpose quadrant. To better understand purpose in this context, I'm going to start with this very simple definition. Purpose is essentially why you do something or why something exists. Amelia Esfahani Smith, a famous author, she proposed that purpose is one of the main pillars in life to reach a meaningful and hence fulfilled life. In her book, The Power of Meaning, she refers to Stanford professor William Damon. He proposes that purpose has two very important dimensions. First of all, purpose is a stable and far-reaching goal. So it's nothing we could accomplish tomorrow, next week, on the short term at all. It's somewhat bound to the long term, to the right side of the graph. And secondly, purpose contains a contribution to the world. So purpose is a goal that is somewhat bigger than our very selves. You still might be questioning now, yeah, Johnny, thanks for that. But I still have no idea what purpose is, right? Purpose sounds so big, like ending world hunger big or being Elon Musk and populating the Mars big. But it doesn't have to be. There's this famous story where John F. Kennedy once visited NASA, and he came across the house cleaning personnel. And he asked the cleaner what his job at NASA would be. And the cleaner gave a really wise answer. He said, well, some people may believe that I'm just here to sweep the dirty floors. Well, I think of it differently. I'm helping to put a man on the moon. I'm helping to put a man on the moon. The same might be true for a cleaner in a hospital. Either you say, my job is it to sweep the dirty floors, right? I hate my job. Or you say, my job is it to make sure that the processes in this hospital can run smoothly so the doctors can save lives without interruption. A different storytelling, a different perspective on your very own situation, but more importantly, a different sense of purpose. If you start to understand why you do something in the context of purpose, will help to improve your attitude towards the task you're doing right now, and it will help to improve your overall relationship to your job as a whole. Because we know in no career path there is, in no job opportunity we take on, there will always be times of hardship, of challenge, of difficult tasks that will take a toll on us. The difference is knowing why you do it in the context of purpose will help to shift your focus from the unpleasant task itself, from the sweeping the dirty floors, the short term, to the stable and far-reaching goal you're working towards, the long term. So start looking for companies that incorporate a purpose, companies that reflect your values and beliefs. Start evaluating purpose the same way as you would evaluate salary or career advancement opportunities. The famous author Jim C. Collins once criticized that some firms only exist to make a profit. It's only about shareholders' value, nothing else really. Clearly lacking a sense of purpose or a greater reasoning why these firms should, or maybe should not, exist in our society. Steve Jobs once communicated a very interesting purpose at Apple in the 70s. And you might think, oh, Johnny, come on, it's Apple, right? They're building sick products everyone wants to buy. And fortunately for them, they can make a ton of money with that. Well, it's profit, basically. Well, Steve Jobs said something else, and I think this quote is much less known than other quotes of his. In the 70s, he said, computers are like bicycles of our minds. What does that mean? Well, for him, it was not just about to sell software hardware to make a profit. He sees the computer as the ultimate tool that the whole world should have access to. Essentially, this means we can change the world here if we can manage to make computers small enough so we can put them in the hand of 1,000 creative people so they can put their ideas to work. We have the opportunity here to advance our society, to bring our society to the next step. We can make a real contribution to the world. If I would have heard and understood this in the 70s, I would say, all right, let's go, let's change the world together, right? I think this inspires action. And at the same time, this would give me a sense of fulfillment, a satisfaction from doing the right thing in my life. Well, if you're still questioning at what companies or what projects you could potentially work at nowadays, well, there's plenty of opportunity. As theorist Jeremy Rifkin puts it, this is the first time in human history where we as humans face an outside risk that threatens our existence. Never before in history, even during times of World War, it was always humans threatening other humans, but never before there has been a threat from the outside. Well, it's global warming. I think many of us, when we were little kids, we were dreaming of becoming superheroes and, saving the world with our superpowers and feeling good while we would do that at the same time, right? Well, guess what? There's a huge need for superheroes nowadays, but in the form of social entrepreneurs, of scientists, of people that have visions to advance our society, of people who stick with those visions, especially when hurdles arise, especially when there's no nearby success experience, of people with a long-term mindset. These are the true modern-day superheroes. And I think under these circumstances, there can't be a bigger potential source of purpose. Well, we talked a lot about career, and what other sources of purpose might there be? I would say the purpose quadrant is true in other important life aspects as well, such as our love life. If you find yourself in the short term, if you're seeking pleasures with swipe, swipe, match, it's fun and exciting and we need that from time to time, but we all know it's never going to be as fulfilling as really loving somebody and wanting to stay with that somebody in the long term, for the purpose of being and staying in love, for the purpose of building a family together in the future. So my advice would be, this is the love graph. My advice would be start considering your career like your love life. If you find yourself in the short term, rather abandon. If you have found your purpose, commit to the long term. Don't wait. Don't save up sex for your old age. Maybe we finally understand what Warren Buffett was saying. Thank you.